So many people go on Big Brother now and say, I want to share my story. I just want to watch what real people will do in strange situations. I'm not there to watch an episode of This Is Your Life. Big Brother UK 2025 episode 6. Richard's in the diary room playing dumb. Oh, I didn't realise at the time what it would mean by taking 50 eyeballs. Except he knew exactly what it would mean, because when he took 130 and Big Brother says people will be left with none, he then changed it to 50. He knew that the total amount was 300, so who's he trying to kid here? Cameron B was upset that Tate didn't choose him to go next, and he was talking about Richard taking 50 eyeballs, and he says, oh, I'll give Tasia a bit of grace because she's only 18. She can still count. On Lit and Live, they were saying you have to give her a bit of grace because she's only 18, and Richard is older and wiser. But yet, Tasia's the one who's sharing her eyeballs and buying other people gifts, and Richard is still hoarding them all to himself. Zila was telling Gani that he's transgender, and Gani was shook to the core. I would have been as well. And Gani was just like, you know, you're so attractive, you're lovely, like you would never be able to tell that you used to be a woman. I totally agree, and I think that Zila is hot. Generally speaking, I do prefer men that look more feminine, but I actually don't even think that he looks feminine. I think he's just got a really lovely face. He was saying that he was paranoid about his voice because he still thinks he sounds feminine, which he doesn't whatsoever. And he was explaining gender euphoria, which I'd never heard of before, but he was talking about like when he got his surgery on top and he could walk about with a towel around his waist and stuff. And I thought that's just something that you don't really think about, you know. On TikTok, there's a lot of transgender people who go out their way to try and make people feel uncomfortable, or to go out their way to try and prove a point. And it's nice to see somebody just explain the process and how it made them feel, and not doing it in a way to just try and make people feel weird. Zila's just telling his story and he's just a normal guy, whereas there's so many people on TikTok, you know what they're like. I think there might be a lot of people watching this who have never met a transgender person, or they didn't know they were transgender, and before they had this idea, a lot of people going on TikTok and just trying to wind people up, and then seeing Zila and being like, do you know what, like, he's just a normal guy. Zila was saying that he didn't change his name except for like one letter in his middle name, which I found really interesting, because a lot of the time when you hear transgender people talk about their old name, they'll maybe call it their dead name. So he's just carried on just being like the same person, but a different person, you know? He's got the same girlfriend that he had, like so many changes, but yet so much consistency. Gani was getting upset because he says he wants to stay there, he wants to win, and he wants longer to tell his story. Now, am I the only person in the world who wants to go into Big Brother just for the experience? I absolutely love most reality TV. I love Big Brother. And I would be in there and I would just want to be there for the experience of being there. Aye, okay. If you wanted to give me £100,000 at the end, cool. Realistically, you know, I'd be lucky to make it past week 3, but I would just love to be there the whole time. I don't have a story to tell, and even if I did, like, does anybody really give a fuck? I understand that he probably wants to show other Indians that you can be bisexual, or you can be these different things outside what your culture expects, but I don't know, I've just never sat and thought, oh, do you know what, I just really want people to know my story. Maybe that's just because I don't have a story though. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think over the years I've just had so many friends whose lives have been so interesting and crazy that it's just normal to me now. But I have to try and keep in mind that there's people out there who don't have any friends, or who haven't mixed with people from different cultures or different sexualities or whatever, so I suppose sharing their story is helpful in that way. Elsa is freaking out her tits because she thinks if she wasn't there, Marcus would be into somebody else, he'd be into Nancy, or maybe he's just using her and she doesn't want to get hurt. I get where she's coming from, but Marcus does seem genuine. However, the way his mum described this whole situation about him bringing different girls back to the house and then her going out for breakfast with his dad while he gets rid of them and all that, it's not the best look for him. It does sound as if he's just going to be, you know, hopping from one girl to the next. They've massively underspent on the shopping list and Zila is in the diary room fixing it. Jenny's complaining that there's no quavers, there's no chocolate on it. And Richard's like, oh, you know, it's probably better for our well-being. Are you fucking serious? They're in that house for 7 weeks. They've already got no entertainment, they've got no music, no TV, no colouring in books, nothing to read unless somebody's took a Bible in with them. Oh, on that note, actually, you know how you're allowed to take a Bible into the house? Does anybody know any like kind of religious books that involves like aliens but not Scientology? Because if I go in there then I can say, oh, I'm this religion, and then I can just read this book like an ancient alien type thing, but that's classed as a religion, because then it'll give me something to do. I mean, in reality, I'll probably never get into the Big Brother house, but I like to plan ahead. You know, I'm manifesting it. Nancy was saying that when she was 12 years old, her mum went to Scotland for a holiday and then didn't come back for like a year. And then when she came back, she says, oh, come and visit Scotland. And then she enrolled in school, and then she just took on the accent. I had a friend who was English, right? I think she was from near London. She came up to stay with me for 2 weeks. She was here for 3 days, and she had like the most Coatbridge accent ever. I can't even do accents, never mind pick up all different ones. George revealed that he had never had a first kiss and he was still a virgin. I was surprised. I said on day one when he went in, when he said that young girls all look the same and think the same, put a bit of makeup on and jobs are good in. I said that. I said, what young women or women in general are going to go near him? What experience does he have with women? The answer is 0 experience. And he says that people look down on virgins. Highly inaccurate. Highly inaccurate. If you've watched Virgin Island and you've seen some of the comments on that, then you would know that actually the only people that look down on virgins are people in high school when you're trying to prove a point. But once you get to an adult, it's like, alright, you're a virgin, like, okay. When it came time for the housemates to spend their eyeballs, George once again brings it back to politics, and he's like, oh, there's people on benefits who are just lazy, and there's people on disability who are just lazy. But yeah, he's always blaming the people. He's never blaming the politicians. He actually said something like, oh, do you think that politicians should be paid more? Do a fuck. Especially when they're getting all these expenses and fucking committing fraud by fucking claiming expenses for everything. He's so fucking blind. And then he said something like, oh, I own 2 garages. But when he was asked in the beginning what his job was, he says that he worked for the church or something. I didn't hear him saying anything about owning businesses or being an actor. When it came time to spend the eyeballs, Tasia was sharing the wealth. She got Jenny a packet of quavers and she got the poor housemates a Chinese takeaway. And that was so nice. Now, Richard was in the room with her, and when he came out, he says, oh, it didn't occur to me to spend it on anybody. He's seen her doing it. So why is he talking shit? Gani was eating the rations and Caroline was pissed. She says, look, you've got a Chinese takeaway and you're sitting eating our rations. That's all we've got. So then he kind of went in a huff and he says, I'll put it back. Please don't. Please don't. Please do not take food off a plate that's to share for everybody and then eat some of it and then put it back. No. I mean, you could maybe say to somebody, do you want that? But don't put it back on the plate for everybody else to eat. It was time for the eviction and Gani went. Now, was anybody surprised? Did anybody vote for Gani to stay? And it's not as if there was like anything wrong with him. I actually really liked him. But Zila is Zila. Do you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck is going to stay in the house next to him? Possibly Jenny. Because I posted a video asking who people's favourite was and pretty much everybody was saying Jenny. But I think if voting is back to normal next week, Richard is definitely going to be up for nomination unless he can buy a power with the eyeballs to be safe. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode and I'll see you again on Sunday. Oh my god, there's no Big Brother tomorrow. I might just go live and talk about it. Why not? My life's that fucking sad. I might as well spend my Saturday night talking about Big Brother. Bye.